Several NBA executives believe there's a chance Tobias Harris will sign with the Detroit Pistons in free agency. This comes from Keith Pompey, Sixers beat writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer. So you can actually trust him a little bit more, Zach, because
Awesome.
he's a very credentialed journalist. I've seen his stuff plenty of times. So Tobias Harris obviously has already played for the Pistons. We just mentioned him when we were talking about Blake Griffin. He was part of that trade package by the Pistons to bring in Blake Griffin. If the Pistons sign Tobias Harris, is it seen as a letdown this offseason to you?
I would say no. I think he'd be a good fit for the roster that we have at hand. I do. I've always enjoyed Tobias. I've always loved him on the team. I thought he was great. And I think that letting him go was just kind of a bad situation because I think Tobias actually really wanted to be in Detroit. And that's really rare to find a guy that wants to be in the city of Detroit to play basketball for a sub 300 performance winning team. Like that's really tough to see. But depending on how much money he's going to hit on cap space to bring him back out of free agent, because is his contract up after this year?
It is. He's a free agent
Yeah.
this year.
So depending on how much he's willing to take to come back to Detroit, I don't see an issue with him coming back at all. And honestly, I want him to bring back Boban with him so I can see more Cheez-It commercials. Maybe we can be like Little Caesars Cheez-It Arena. Like that'd be pretty cool. But like I enjoyed Tobias Harris as a Piston. I always did. He was a consistent player. You could tell he always gave 1,000% effort, and he cared about the team. So I would not have an issue of bringing him back, depending how much it's going to cost us.
Yeah, I don't want that to be the major move this offseason, though. I want the Pistons to do something else and then bring in
Yes.
Tobias Harris as well. But if you can bring in Tobias Harris for like 20 to 25 million, I'm okay with it.
He's not
31
your star.
years old.
He's not your star. He's someone. He's a supporting cast.
Yeah, he'd be a good outlet for Cade.
He'd be a great. I think he would fit well with Cade. I think their play style, because at the end of the day, I like Tobias Harris. Like one of the things that I loved the most about him when he was Detroit is when the shot clock's down to 5, this dude could make something happen, and he usually always did. Whether it's finishing at the rim or just pulling up with a mid-range game, like I really enjoyed how he played the game of basketball.
I did too. I was a big fan of his. And I still am. I mean, I know he is consistent, but also there are some moments in his career where he has not shown up for his team. And some Pistons fans were riding him hard. I think it was during the play-in game, and he did not have a great performance. And I think he was actually benched in favor of Nick Batum, but I could be wrong about that. But if you're paying him more than $30 million, which you might have to bring him in, and I know the Pistons have like $60 million in cap space, I guess I would live with it, but I would rather pay a little bit less for Tobias Harris, and I don't see it as a letdown if they bring him in this offseason. But do you think Tobias Harris is an upgrade over Bojan Bogdanovic, who they traded to the Knicks earlier this year?
150% yes.
Okay.
I think he's a better culture, like system guy than Bojan was. And even him playing in New York, he's still a little off. You can tell that he hasn't really fit in. And I think that was the biggest problems in Detroit, is that he never really found his role with the team, because there was games that he was shooting the ball 20 times and there was games he was only shooting at 6. I don't think he really understood what kind of role he was going to take on with that team. And I think Tobias is a little better fit and understanding of maybe, and plus too, he's been in the league for so long. I think he'd be a better role model for the younger guys coming or playing on that team right now.
So Bojan played 87 games for the Pistons, started 86 of them, averaging 32 minutes per game. And for the New York Knicks so far this year, he's played in 29 games, averaging 19 minutes per game. Yeah, I think, and Tobias Harris is a starter on the Philadelphia 76ers. I think he's a clear upgrade over Bojan. I think Bojan, he was a lot of fun to watch in Detroit. I just think his numbers were inflated because the team was so bad. Like you needed someone to shoot the ball, and Bojan was just one of those guys. And so I think Tobias Harris is a huge upgrade over Bojan Bogdanovic.